fellow traders, good evening, good afternoon, good morning everyone. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you all are doing amazing. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to provide a quick update and review in regards to our trade on V50 index. Okay, so unfortunately the swing setup didn't play out the way we anticipated, the way we expected. Okay, so we are stopped out. Okay, I'm going to provide a review in regards to that so that we can as well learn from the loss. Okay, so it's not always every time we try to share review on profitable ones. We also try to share review on the ones that didn't play out, because most of the time you're going to learn a lot from the losses compared to the profitable trades. Okay, because the losses will provide the real lessons and the real experience you will gain when trading the strategy. Okay, so in this video I'm going to break down this particular trade, my reason, my thought process, why I took the trade, and why I feel that it didn't play out based on the criteria that we use to pick out our high probability setup. Okay, just a quick one. You guys should be familiar with all of this right now. First of all, we need to find a key level. Okay, a key level on the higher time frame, key level of order block, fair value gap, rejection week, a very strong key level on the higher time frame. Okay, and then we need to make sure that that particular key level that we've been able to get, we need to make sure that we have a valid harmonic pattern that is in alignment with that key level. Okay, so that is what we need to make sure that we have a valid harmonic pattern that is in alignment with that particular key level. That is the second thing. Okay, and then the final part is for us to wait for price to get to the key level, and then we execute the trade and manage the trade. Okay, but then, so let's assume that this is a valid harmonic pattern. Okay, and then let's assume that we have a key level right here. Okay, so we expect price to get to this point and we take our trade, and then we manage our position, as simple as that. Okay, but in regards to V50 index, something was lacking. Okay, and before I talk about what was lacking in this setup, and I want you guys to look at these two things. Okay, first of all, look at what is happening on V75 1s. Look at what is happening on V75 1s. Look at it very well. Okay, and then look at the key level also. Look at it very well. You can see how strong the key level is. And by the way, we had a lot of harmonic pattern confluence on this particular key level. It's not only this setup that we had, we have other setup that formed at this key level. Okay, so but then look at it very well. Let me even increase that for you guys. Okay, look at this very well. First of all, we have a key level, and then we have a harmonic pattern that is in alignment with that key level. And then price got to that key level, and then you can see where price is right now. Okay, so now compare it with V50 index. Okay, V50 index, we just have this setup, right? We cannot clearly see something at the left. Okay, and then we took our entry, and this is what price is doing right now. So what is actually lacking? When you look at V50 index and look at V75 1s, what do you think that is lacking in this setup? What do you feel that is lacking? Key level. There is no valid key level that we can hold on 50 index. There was no valid key level. Okay, on V50 index there was no valid key level, but on V75 1s we can clearly see the key level, and that was where price reacted from. We can clearly see the key level, and that was where price did reacted from. So that is what we need to understand. Okay, but that is the first mistake. Now, when we don't have a valid key level that is reacting on a particular potential reversals you're looking to trade, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that we don't need to take that trade. So what I did on this particular setup was I waited for price to react here. Okay, I think I took an aggressive entry on this spot. I took an aggressive entry here with 2 positions. Okay, so when price got to this point, I took partial profit because if you look very well, this was actually a valid key level that price came back to. Okay, that is also in sync with this trendline liquidity. Okay, so what I did was to take partial profits and I did not adjust stop loss. Okay, so I was expecting price to give us a fresh key level on the higher time frame, which price later did. Price gave us this key level. Let me remove this in a second. Price later gave us this key level. Okay, and on giving us this key level, it gave us another harmonic pattern on the lower time frame. 15 minutes, one hour time frame. We had another harmonic what pattern here. Okay, so this was now a scaling trade that I took. This was a pattern. This was a setup. I think something like this. Yes, this was a setup. The same thing here. Okay, so this was a setup, right? Good. So this is a sharp pattern of 0.886. You can see how 886 aligns perfectly. Yeah, so the first mistake was there was no key level that will compare the potential reversal zone to. That was the first mistake. That's actually a very major mistake when it comes to this trade on V50 index. Then compared to V75 index, you can see the difference is clear. There was a clear key level, which is a very important aspect of our strategy, and then we paired it with a valid harmonic pattern. Okay, and the entry was smooth, and you can see where price is right now. If you compare it with V50 index, you can see that there is no visible key level that will compare this potential reversal zone to, and that was why the setup failed. Yes, because like I said before, price will always react from a higher time frame key level. Okay, but then before that happened, we had this scaling, a child pattern that formed here, which gave us a profit before full profit before price refers back to stop loss. Okay, so let's look at that on the lower time frame. On the 1 hour time frame, we could actually see the setup clearly. Okay, this is a classical bullish shark pattern that occurred at a very visible key level, and price pushed to this high. I took partial profit and then I moved stop loss to break even, but on the swing positions I didn't break even, I only took partial profit. Okay, but on this particular scaling trade I took partial profit and adjusted my stop loss to entry here. Okay, and then price came back and then took us out. Okay, yeah, so a lesson from this particular video is to let us know the importance of key level. As we have all seen, key level is very important, so you don't just go around or go about identifying potential harmonic setup without pairing it to a key level. So key level is very, very important. Okay, so let me see if I can share my MT5 platform with you guys, so that I want to show you guys the importance of folding weak hands, the importance of folding weak hands. So the importance of patience and the importance of holding trade when it's actually moving in your direction. Okay, and we're going to use V75 index to portray what I'm about to display for you guys. Okay, now let's look at this. Now this is V75 index 75 1s. Okay, now I closed this trade on time. I'm trying to, okay, it's not on this particular account, it's not on this particular account that I took that trade, but this is the same thing we have on here. Okay, so I want to quickly show you guys, just to give you the why, what you need to hold on to when you're learning harmonic pattern, what you need to hold on to. the potential profit you could make when you've actually mastered how to identify this harmonic pattern, which is pretty much very simple, it's not hard. How much you could be making when you've mastered this strategy. And like I always say, it has happened before, it is currently happening now, and it will happen again. Okay, so let's particularize. Let's assume that for V75 1s, you can actually trade it with a lot size of you can actually trade it with a lot size of 0.01, if I'm not mistaken. If you go to, let me see, if you go to specification, under specification, what is the minimum lot size, minimum volume? Okay, 0.05. yes. So let's assume that you have a, of course, if you have to treat trading as a business, okay, and let's assume that you have like, let's just assume that you have like let's say $10, okay, you want to risk on this trade. $10 you want to risk on this trade. Okay, so let's particularize it right now. $10, so we're going to use a buy limit, and let's say 0.05, which is the minimum lot size. Okay, and let's do our entry here. This is the entry price. We'll copy the entry price and we place it here, and then we'll copy the stop loss. I want to show you guys how much you could make when you master this type of, or this style of trading. Let's copy the take profit, and you can see that price is almost close to take profit level. Okay, at 0.886. let's copy it and then paste. Good. So let's see how much you'll be risking. I don't know if you guys can see that clearly. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. Good. Unfortunately, I cannot be able to, but if you look closely, that is $6.71. That is what you'll be risking. You wanted to risk $10, but then the minimum lot size is giving you 6.71. okay, so how much will you make? You make what? $100 if price gets to your full target, which is almost very close, very close. You can see very close. But it didn't just started off smoothly. It took a lot of days for price to just start moving smoothly. So within those period of accumulation, those period of movement, that is where your patience will be tested. That is where your patience will be tested. That is where a lot of traders will give up. And those that hold still, who knows where they are going, who knows that they have to respect their take profit levels, will enjoy the maximum return. Now let's assume that you want to risk let's assume that you want to risk $50 on this trade. So pending order, let me move this to 0.5. Let me delete this one and see how much that will give us as an exposure of risk. It will give us $67. Okay, so if you want to risk $50, let's move it a little bit to let's move it to 0.4. should be within that range. Okay, let me remove this. Good. So we have 53, which is within that range of $50. So you're risking $50 on this trade. How much are you expecting to make? You're making $800. That is crazy. Have how much? $2,000 exposure, and this will giving us what? Almost $30,000. So you are risking $2,000 on the trade and you're making $30,000. Let's even ask you just ask Google that if you risk 2,000 USD to make 30,000 USD, what is the return percentage? Let's ask Google. Let's see what Google will tell us. Let's see what Google will tell us. What is the ROI? Okay, that is making about 1,400% return. You can see that this is actually possible, right? It is possible. How? You already seen it here playing out. Look at it here, very clean. This one failed because of the fact that what, we didn't have what, a clear key level that we paid our potential reversals on to. But you can see that this particular one stood out. Why? Because of the fact that we had a clear higher time frame key level, a fresh one that price created, right, on the daily time frame. You can see, unfortunately, yes, that is yes, that is okay on the daily time frame. And if you go down to the 1 hour time frame, even on the 1 hour time frame, you can actually scale down to a lower time frame for that particular key level. So that was actually very valid, and we made profit, and then price decided to do what to do, react from there, and then push back to stop loss. So you can see how simple this is. I've had many of these in the past. Let's look at other ones that are playing out. I don't know if I have. Okay, this one is still setting up. I'm still, patiently waiting for this to form. I don't know how many weeks or how many months it will take, but if price did not get to this level, I will not be looking out for any opportunity here. And these things has happened in the past. Okay, so if you don't have to be, look at this one that happened early this year, around January this year. Look at it. This is on the daily time frame. So if somebody is risking $1,000 on this trade, and at the end of the day the person is making like $20,000 to $30,000 return, you don't come and say it's not possible. You're only limited to the level, or to the level of knowledge you have, or to the level of knowledge you're exposed to. You're only debating on what you know. You can't reason beyond what you don't know. So that is one thing in life. So your only limitation is your level of knowledge and exposure to what you know. So everything is possible with the right mindset, and with the right skill, and with the right knowledge. Okay, and like I always say, don't allow one loss to deter you. Don't allow one loss to make you start losing faith in what has been proven to work. There are other setups that will always give you profitable trade, provided that you followed the process. Okay, so this will be all for now, guys. I just want to provide this extensive review on V50 index. I talked about why the trade failed, because we didn't have a valid key level that will pair the potential reversal zone to. So it was only the scaling trade that played out, because that price gave us a fresh key level that we were able to pick something before price reverse to stop loss. And then I showed you guys the other trade on V75 index that played out, because we had a valid key level that we paired our potential reversal zone to, and the swing was a success. And then finally I was able to give you guys a potential profit you guys can actually make when you've mastered how to trade harmonic pattern over the years, over the weeks, over the months, over the period of time. You begin to get good at it. You begin to increase your risk. You begin to increase your confidence, because the more you build your confidence, the more you increase your risk, and the more you can be able to make more profits. Okay, either through ProFirm or through personal accounts. So this will be all for now, guys. I wish you guys all the best, and hope you catch you guys in another video. Until then, bye for now, guys.